Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm doing a reaction to Mala and its significance with subtitles. I I may have thought this was Maya. I don't know. But anyways, Mala. I guess it's this thing right here. But anyways, let's go ahead and give this video a shot.
Malas.
Malas.
Malas or rosaries.
Okay, I recognize rosaries.
Malas or rosaries are simply on a conventional level counters. They help you to count a particular amount of sacred words, which we talked about last year, mantras. The powerful effect of mantras on our psychology, on our body, and on our winds and our movement. And how incredible, powerful certain mantras can be over a period of time. Well, they really are words of power. That I can attest to myself. And in extreme cases where we really concentrate, you can actually, I mean, I'm not joking, you can stop rain with mantras. Literally, you can just stop rain. Malas are simply counters. They help you to keep track so you can concentrate. Malas are used to concentrate and used to help you to focus and concentrate on the mantras you're doing in the meditation. Because if you have to keep count of a certain mantra, then you lose counting and meditate, lose count, meditate. In the beginning, it's kind of hard because our mind is very dysfunctional. It's not able to, multitask in the beginning. So it's like, I'm kind of, where was I? Oh, what is my then you start all over again. And forget this meditation thing. I'm going out and having a root beer. So malas are simply counters to help you remember where you are and how many you need to do. They are actually used to help you to concentrate. Contrary to what some people think that the whole focus is having a holy mala and it's really fabulous, it's really wonderful, and that's a spiritual practice. No. Malas are not spiritual practices in itself. It helps you to become spiritual because it helps you to focus on what you're supposed to be doing, repetitions. And so therefore, the mala is a counter. It contains 108 beats. 100 is the usual number we count. 8 is for mistakes that we've done. Sometimes we mispronounced unintentionally. Sometimes we skipped. Sometimes we missed. So the 8 is to make up for that. All right, they have other complicated explanations, but I'm going to leave it there. 108. And the quality of the mala is according to your means. According to your means. But I would recommend you to get malas that last, that are durable, that don't break easy, and that are easy to use. You get what do you get? A lapis lazuli mala because you can afford it. You get it. It's heavy. Someone offered me one. I was like, oh, lapis lazuli, give that to me because it's got gold in it. I'm like, oh, gold. Oh, I love it. That's gonna help my meditation. Boy, it's heavy. After a while, you're like, oh, money. I had biceps on this side from using that mala, and no biceps on this side. Oh, it's not practical at all.
I would find it more. I guess for me, it's a little bit different. If it is something that you really care about, I think being simple is pretty nice. I guess, of course, you want good wood. That wood that doesn't really, how to say, rub away, gets damaged really easily. So you want the really good wood in that. It's going to cost a lot, but it's all wood. I don't know if you really want hard stones or anything like that. This is my thinking, and you can definitely have your opinion on it, whether it be good or bad. Absolutely say it. But for me, if I was thinking, maybe I might do that. I was thinking like finding some really good wood that can last, but very cheap. Not cheap. How to say good quality that's affordable. I guess that's the right word for it. And I think what could be really appreciated, obviously things wear out over time, and I think what makes things very, how to say, I don't know what the right word is, but let me just say what I'm trying to explain. So imagine you have this thing this rosary for 20, 40 years of your life. It's going to wear out. Maybe you get good quality wood that the wood doesn't wear out, but maybe the strings, because you're constantly pulling it, wears out. Then what you do is you take it apart, remove the wooden beads, get new string, and reassemble it. That way, the wood itself, the beads itself, is what stuck through you. It's like I had this beads for 80 years, and you can see the patina, not the patina, the wears in the wood, but it's really good quality wood that you stain, that you take care of it, and it's kind of like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it because there's nothing really out there. But something that you see that's like, man, that's been used a lot, but it's in really really good shape, and you look like it's that old and it's that good looking. It's been really taken care of and loved. Well, been loved, you know. So that's my thinking. So, but basically, just have something that it's a really good quality. It doesn't have to be fancy stones or anything like that. But the whole point of it is something that is good quality that will last and that you take care of and that you have for a long time. And then whenever people look at it, it's like it's been through a lot. It's because it's been with you through a long period of time. You had to refurbish it. You had to repair it. But it shows the dedication and love you have for this item. But it's attachment. But it may help you meditate, though. I don't know. Maybe you grow too much of an attachment for it. But it has a symbolism to it. It's like it's like I have an item. Hold on. I don't know if I should show it. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let me hide it. Okay, so this item. So this is a globe, right? And this is something I bought fairly recently. This is something that my father had a long before me. This, can you even see it? Let me turn on the light, I guess, real quick. See. Oh, that is super bright. Oh my gosh, it's blinding. I guess that's okay. Sorry, I don't have good light in this room, but you can see it's a watch. It's military looking watch. Yeah, it's what my father gave to me a long time ago when I was actually really really young. Maybe between 6 to 8 years old. So ancient years ago, and I still have it. It's I lost a piece of it though. Again, the whole point is just that this watch has been with me for a very very long time, and I hope to never lose it. And this watch was given to me by my mother, and I got this when I was about maybe 13, I think. Some relatively young. The watches they do work. They don't have batteries in them, but I want to keep them as just remembrance, I suppose you could say. And hope to keep them like that. Maybe pass it on sometime. But I use different watches, and I can always reuse both watches. Obviously, this one is going to look a little bit weird. My father trimmed up the one end of it, so that it'll fit my hands better when I was smaller. But yeah. So anyways, I'll be right back. So anyways, the whole point of that was just to show fact that there's something that was given to me or something that has meaning, and I've held on for it. And although I don't use it, it does have some wear to it. So kind of like, I guess, like the rosaries or the mala. The string itself, sure, you should use a good quality string, of course, but it's going to wear out. Same with the beads. But, if you can get some decently quality beads, I think those are probably the more important part. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about it, but that's just my thoughts. Is that I guess the beads are a bit more important because those are the ones that you touch the most and you manipulate. And then the string is just what holds it together. Now, there could be more to it, and I don't know, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm guessing the string is something that you replace because it's going to wear out. Same with the beads to a degree, but obviously, like you was talking about here, you want good quality. So, not gems or anything like that. If you want gems and fancy it up, then... But I think it's probably more meaningful to have something that you've held on for so long than to have something that's very bright and shiny or whatever. That's my opinion anyway. Maybe I'm just too poor. Maybe that's the reason why.
And and some Chinese Mahayana people, it's not wrong because Tibetans do that too. Have huge malas. It's that big, and they wrap it around, and it goes down to the knee, and then when they're walking, Namo Omi Tofo Namo. Oh my God! And then they carry these malas. It's so huge. It's bigger than my thumb, and it's like Omani Peme Hong, Omani Peme Hong, Omani Peme Hong, and then you gotta hold them all and go oh. Then Omani Peme Hong, Omani Peme Omani. But by the time you finish, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger fingers, and it's so heavy. And then the biceps, of course, which is not bad, but it's only on one side, so you show this arm, not that. I don't see the purpose of those huge malas. I don't see. It's not bad. I mean, if you like it, all the power to you. Huge mala people, great. For me, I don't like it too big. I don't like it too heavy.
Well, I guess that's the question. So he says he was using it in only one arm. Can you not do it in the opposite arm, or do you have to do it on your either your right arm or your main arm? And what I mean by your main arm is like some people are left-handed, so their left hand would be their main arm, or is it only right-handed? Because if you got big biceps in one arm, then you just flip it to the other side, boom, workout. Let me know.
And I don't like a lot of things hanging off me because Tibetans put counters on them, which a lot of people like, but I don't like because I find it gets tangled and all that stuff. I like it simple and easy, but good material. I'll tell you why now. Certain practices, certain types of mantras, if you do it with combine it with certain materials, it helps to facilitate the result of that mantra. Example, if you put very calming, beautiful music and you go for crystal therapy and then they put this aromatherapy stuff, it does help. Crystals do help certain parts of your body. I mean, ancient medicine or traditional medicine is all made of components that are natural elements, and mercury and gold and silver. Tibetan medicine is. So it's all elements. So crystals do help. They help, but but it's in conjunction with things. So malas do help in conjunction with certain mantras. So if you recite Om Mani Padme Hum and Chenezik or Kuan Yin, in Tibetan we call him Chenezik. Tibetan he's a he, in Chinese it's a she. It doesn't really matter, he, she, So anyways, Chenezik, when you recite the mantra, it's very good to have crystal malas. It's not a necessity. It's not a must. It's not that you have to, and if you don't, oh God, Kuan Yin's not going to bless you. How ridiculous. But crystal malas are very good for Kuan Yin. And Bodhi seed malas are very good.
I would say like that looks pretty cool. And I think that's something I could potentially look into getting maybe. This is kind of, to me, this is like the fidget spinners. Now, hold on. There's some type of the fidget spinner and things like that have a type of a satisfying effect, a relaxing effect. But fidget spinners are obviously toys, but they do have that. They kind of use spin. That's, in my opinion, or in my thinking, they're roughly the same. Some people like the moving of the beads and the feeling of the beads in their hand. Some people like the spinning of the fidgets in their hand, and they just look at it mesmerized. Roughly the same idea behind it, where you kind of get this focused relaxation, I think. Again, I know I've done the fidget spinner, and it's very satisfying and very calming. And I wouldn't doubt that. I was thinking, like, trying to imagine it, that getting a very nice wood, because wood would be a little bit warm, maybe slightly cold, and then it's very nice and smooth to just move in your hands, and then to think of something to do that. Again, a mantra would be, I guess, more appropriate for it. And to have that and then, like, over time, obviously, that would become your mala or rosary, that when you grab in your hands, very familiar, and it brings up all these emotions, thoughts that get you back into the focus of the mantra, because it's very familiar and you can feel all the very similar feeling beads that you've gone through many, many times over and over again. That's the reason why I think when you get a good quality, those beads, that last a long time, you would have that very familiar effect. When you get something brand new, they could be slightly bigger, slightly smaller, or maybe even a whole different material, and you will feel off, because I'd assume here, at least for me, this is how I think it'd be off. You just know, because these are brand new beads. You can feel it's like a lot more smoother, and it feels different, a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit stiff because it hasn't been worn in. So, and I guess the beads is kind of to bring you back to familiarity and to help you focus, because it's something that you've stuck with since the very beginning. So it's a little bit like a comfort blanket, or like the kids, it's the comfy blanket where it brings them home. But this is more along the lines that would get you back into focus. I think that's my guess.
Bodhi seed, because Bodhi seed is originally linked to the Bodhi tree. The Bodhi tree is what Lord Buddha sat under to meditate to become a Buddha. So Bodhi tree reminds us. It's not necessarily because it's not the tree that Buddha sat under. It's a tree that grew 50,000 miles away, so it's a Bodhi tree, big deal. That's not the one Buddha sat under. But if you use a Bodhi tree mala, it kind of reminds you of your purpose to become a Buddha, and it imprints with that awareness that I will be a Buddha, that I want to be a Buddha. So Bodhi seed is very good because it's light, it's solid, it's nice, and it's a reminder of where Lord Buddha attained his final release. The Bodhisattvas are wonderful. And pearls are very nice, they're precious. And I'll explain why in a few minutes.
They're expensive though.
Wood, any type of wood is all right. Sandalwood's beautiful. Fabulous. And these days we have synthetic materials, which is okay too. You know, they don't break, they last a long time, they're synthetic. You know, even glass and all that, because they didn't have all that in Tibet. It's not allowed. You know, you can even have pure coral, up to you. It's really up to you. Because a mala is used as a counter. But in higher practices, because you're not going to remain at your level, you're going to go to higher practices where you recite certain mantras. And as you recite more and more, it energizes your mala. It really does. So what happens is when you recite a lot of mantras, it energizes your mala, and the mala becomes a very powerful object. A talisman, a protection. Why do you think a lot of Chinese people hang malas inside their car? Because it comes from that reasoning, that someone blessed and holy has done prayers on it, and the energy is there. So malas can contain very powerful energies. And when you recite mantras after you're finished, you blow it on your mala. It becomes protection. Why? The energy of that certain deity that you've been contacting, Kuan Yin, for example, Manjushri, Om Arabasnati, Om Mani Padme, it goes right in. And it stays, energizes, and it's yours. Very nice. And in higher practices, in the sutra practices, in the lower practice, the medium practice, whatever, then malas become an object of offering. Example, for convenience sake, it can be used as a mandala offering. So what you visualize in your mala is a string of jewels and diamonds and pearls and rubies and sapphires and amethysts and all the beautiful things you visualize and you offer. So if you actually have a few precious items on it, it's a wonderful offering every single day to offer to the Buddha when you're doing your practices. So therefore, if you have some pearl malas, it's very, very nice because it's nice to use, it's unique, it's different, but it's an offering. You think, well, if I offered it yesterday, today I can't offer it again. No, yesterday was yesterday's reality, today it's yours again. It's a different reality today. So you can have beautiful pearl malas to offer up to Lord Buddha, up to Tsongkhapa when you're doing your meditations. And then on the highest form of practice, this is not a necessity, this is just my own little thinking. When you have malas that are precious materials, you offer it to yourself as a deity. So if you visualize yourself, in the higher practices, you change your reality to the Yidam, the meditational deity. Yidam is one that holds your mind. So that refers to your personal affinity deity that you meditate on to achieve enlightenment. Because there's 108 different deities. You can't meditate and recite the sutra and mantra every single day. You can't. It's just too much. It's physically impossible, no matter how enlightened you are. And it's not necessary. If you have one, it contains the energy of all. So your lama or your teacher or your disciple, your guru, when you're ready, you request, he will assign you an affinity deity, that one that fits your particular need, your particular mind, and your particular energy, and your particular way to enlightenment. And therefore, when you have this yidam, and then you receive initiation and you have visualizations of yourself as that deity, when you have these precious items, it's an offering. I offer it to Chenezik. I offer it to Manjushri. And then therefore, you can have precious items that are nice, without attachment, without the result of attachment. And in that same meditation, you can have many precious things around you. Maybe you're someone in society. Maybe you are, and you have to keep up looks for business, for your sake of your family, whatever, because the world operates on that convention. You may not. So in your mind, you don't operate on a convention, but outwardly you do with a good motivation. I'm going to have a big fat car. I'm going to have a big fancy house. I'm going to have fancy jewelry because I have to, because I'm in this station of life, so I have to help maintain my family. Out of compassion, you have those things.
I don't think you necessarily need a big car, a big house, or many jewelries, or... Now, don't get me wrong, dress is one thing, but to have a fancy... fancy watch or fancy car for your work, oh my gosh, I don't think that's for your work. I think that's for yourself. Now again, like I said, your dress attire and your watch, well, just your dress attire really, I think yes, that makes sense to where you have to dress appropriately. Of course, it's business, but to bling out a Rolex or I don't know what other fancy watch there are, I just know Rolex because of the movies. That would be I'd be rocking Fossil, I guess. I probably wouldn't be rocking Fossil anymore. It'd be smartwatch, I guess. But anyways, yeah, fancy house, big car, all that. No, I wouldn't say so. But I get the appearance stuff.
So in that way, when you have those things, it doesn't create negative karma or attachment. Why? The intention is to benefit. So malas can be used. They're basically counters. And traditionally, you have a center. And then on this side is 21, on this side is 21. Because many practices, your mantra, you recite up to 21. And then after 21, you have something bigger here if you prefer. Why? Because everything is designed not to interrupt your meditation. So when you go to 21 like that, you can feel it. And then you stop. So everything is to facilitate your meditation. And so, and if you're very lucky, if your lama, your guru, has some relationship with you and stuff, and he's offered you a mala, you think it's fabulous. Because most likely your lama and guru or whatever has put his energy in it. Prayers. His idam. So that when you touch the mala and do the practice, it helps to open up seeds in your mind faster. Because someone who's spiritually advanced has the propensity to open us up faster and easier. Much faster. So, or if we have a mala that's blessed by a person that we respect and a person that's attained, or at least is a good person and has good energy and praise, then it empowers our mala. If it's not done, it's okay also. Because every day we bless it ourselves. We can bless. We don't have to be a Rinpoche, but we all can bless. The Buddhas can work through all of us. So it can be of any material. Certain practices require certain different types of mala. Certain practices. And then certain practices require you to use your left hand or your right hand.
Oh, there you go.
And which finger. All right? But generally for us, we just use any hand we like, any finger. But for auspicious reasons, when we do the higher tantric practices, which are very profound, if you do the mother tantras, then you use the left hand. If you do the mother tantras, you use the left hand for peaceful activities that acquire peaceful abilities, peaceful forms of powers and clairvoyance. You use the index finger. If you want to increase wealth, increase knowledge, increase harmony, you want to increase prosperity in the area, with those deities, you will use the second hand. Second finger, I'm sorry. So you recite it like that. With a particular mantra and meditation, it will increase. Because you have wind channels here. These wind channels activate certain things in your mind that help you go to that direction, that open up things in that direction. And then in the mother tantras, if you want to do controlling activities, controlling weather, controlling spirits, exorcisms, destroying, stopping negativities, then you use the third finger. The third finger is control aspect. It will gain you the power to control certain situations to be a benefit to others. And then last but not least is when all three methods fail, you have to use wrath or ferocity. Wrathful methods. For some people, you need wrath. You need to be wrathful. Their minds don't move unless you're wrathful. So to gain that wrathful ability, wrathful is anger without anger. Isn't that beautiful? Anger without anger. You get angry not because you're angry. You get angry is a method. So for wrathful meditations and wrathful, if you're in a very violent area, like a cemetery or near a cemetery or a place that people have been killed and died, it's very wrathful. And every time you meditate, you see things, you feel things, you're uncomfortable, or you feel jittery. It's not necessarily a spirit, but you yourself feel, because the area is very, energized with wrathful, bad energy, then you use last finger. This is wrath. This is controlling the situation around you. And you do particular mantras. If you do the father tantras, then you use the right hand. Left is permissible. You use more on the right. Left represents wisdom, which is mother tantras. Right represents father tantra, which is based on method. Both is necessary for enlightenment. Both are two wings of a bird. It's just which method you go towards. So if we're doing, for example, Vajrayogini practices, Hiruka practices, Kala Chakra practices, Kala Chakra, Vajrayogini, Hiruka, then we would concentrate on the left hand using the first index finger. And we would train ourselves to use that. And then we pull the mala towards us. This is how we use it. We keep it at heart level, concentrate, and we pull it towards us. And when you finish it, when you get to the end, maybe you have to do 1,000, 500, 1, I don't know. When you get to the end, you just continue, you just go over. This is nothing sacred and holy, it's just a marker. Some people turn it around, not necessary. You just continue. So those who are doing Yamataka practices, we use Samaja practices, then they will use the right hand. Those of us who are not initiated into the higher tantras at this time, you use any hands you like. But if you like to be initiated into one of the higher tantras and you know which one you like or which one you've been told you're going to get, then you would start. Example is Vajrayini Hiruka, left hand. Yamataka, Guya Samaja, right hand.
You know, like I said a little bit earlier about the familiarity of the mala or the rosary that you use will get you into that mood. It's kind of, I just thought about it a little bit more. It's like how Lakhani, or I think it's Swami Sarvapriyananda also, to said to to meditate, you set your a particular part of the room, or maybe even a room itself, but let's just say a particular part of the room as dedicated to that, where you have whatever's needed to get you in the mood, to get you in the mood, but to get you in that mood. And what you do is you practice every day 10 minutes or however minutes you can to sit there and try to meditate. Try to focus. It's not going to work immediately, much like that. It's something that you constantly do every day to train, in a sense, train your mind. Well, that's what you're kind of doing, because your mind is always all over the place, or at least mine is. And you train your body as well, and your thoughts and your emotions. That sitting in that corner, attempting to meditate, or doing that by just doing mantras, by doing the motion, will help focus your body, your thoughts, your emotions. Sitting, meditating, or doing the malas again. It's all roughly the same, in my opinion, in my mind, my thinking. Because they're all there to get your body trained to do something. Whenever your body does it, it kind of gets you set. It's like, oh, this is what we're doing. So every day in the morning when you sit there, it's like your body's training. It's like, oh, we're doing this. And it's not easy, or at least for me, I definitely know it's not. But it's just, for me, it's the body and the mind. Emotions, not so much. But yes. I wonder if that would be. I don't know if you can mix and match. I wonder if perhaps maybe meditating with that would help focus the mind and the body.
Kala chakra, left hand. Mother Tantra. And that's not a big deal, but you see, it's another way to help you to gain attainments faster. If you use the wrong hands, like, uh-oh, no effect. No, got effect. There are plenty of villagers out there who, they don't even have fingers. They just recite mantras. They don't have hands, accidents, whatever. They still gain attainments. So these are just to help you. Don't get caught up on this. And if you make it very beautiful, if you make it very attractive, it's nice too. Because some people at that level where they like nice things, so if you give them nice things, they do nice mantras. You give them ugly things, they won't do a mantra. I mean, there's all types of people. So, if you know some guy who's, filthy, wealthy, rich, and everything around him is gold, including his toilet bowls, everything's gold, you give him a crappy little wooden mala that smells, that's misshapen. You hear, the Buddhas pray. He's like, thank you very much. But if you give this guy a pearl, he's like, ooh, I want to recite mantras every day. At that level. And as they do more and more, their mind changes. After a while, it doesn't matter to them. But it attracts them at their level.
I'll say that's kind of weird to have to have that mindset that it has to be of a certain level, or a certain, not quality, but a certain level of fanciness to do something that's quite important in your life, that's very meaningful. And this is the reason why I say wood. It's just because it's something very simple. Something is quite affordable, I think, but then there's great skill to form those circular shapes, and then but it was probably still be a lot cheaper than freaking, amethysts or rubies or whatever, gemstones there are. But yeah, it's something that you can get started with right away, and very affordable, and something that you could work on too. Again, if your rope or whatever it is that's holding it together just gets worn out, it should be relatively easy to replace.
The significance is precious stones are acquired by you having wealth. The wealth is a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. And with blood, sweat, and tears, if you have money, you can spend it on many things. But if you spend it on something to offer to a Buddha who is an enlightened being, you create the causes for you to gain great wealth again. Because if motivation is to get rich as an end to itself. It's feeding desire, because you're already feeding desire as you are not doing that every day. Every single day, whatever you do is to get wealth. You're feeding the desire every single day. But it's better to feed your desire through an enlightened being, which eventually will extinguish that. Because if you're a very nasty, ugly person, if you hang around a nice person, eventually you start to transform and change. So like that, if you're going to feed your desire by offering pearls and precious items on a Buddha image, what happens is this, is that every single day that Buddha image contains that item, you collect merit every single day. And when you collect that merit, it transforms your mind. It helps you to switch your mind over to something good, even initially if it's negative. And at the same time, when you offer something precious to an enlightened being, that enlightened being has no desire for it, and he has no need. And on top of that, he has all that he wants. But when you offer it up to an enlightened being whose mind is free from attachments, then you create the causes for you to reach that state, because you're making an affinity with that being. And the affinity you're making is not a cheap little glass of yogurt. It's something really that your greedy mind would have normally have not done. But you pull yourself away from your greed to offer it to something that you feel you don't get immediate benefit. So on many levels, it has a lot of effect. Okay? And hence in Buddhist places, they encourage that. Like in Thailand, gold on the Buddhas. Yes, it is meant as a counter to attachment. A counter. Okay? Now, so when you have beautiful malas, nice malas, for some people it's encouraging. For some people they use it as practice in their daily practice. It's an offering. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what kind of mala you have. It doesn't really matter. It's basically a counter, and it's pleasant, it's nice. You pick the size that you like. You pick the size that you find pleasant, and you can change it. And it's a wonderful gift to people because it's very meaningful. It's very beautiful. It symbolizes practice. Kuan Yin in the Tibetan tradition, 4 arms. In this arm holds a mala. In this arm holds a lotus. And in these 2 arms here holds a wish-fulfilling jewel. So in this arm holding a lotus is a reminder to us that by practice, Kuan Yin became enlightened. By listening to her master, Shakyamuni Buddha, she became enlightened. And she became enlightened not by listening, but applying what she heard into practice, into assimilation with her mind. So this mala that she's holding represents assimilation. So when you have a mala and you keep a mala and it's kept well, it's also awareness of your spiritual practice that you need to practice. When you see a mala, what do you think? You're not going to wrap around yourself and go on a podium. I mean, you can, but that's not what you usually associate it with. And higher beings who are very practiced in mantra, who are very practiced in meditation, their malas are very powerful. Because their energy, their motivation, and everything you want to achieve is contained in their prayers, and then it's blessed. And some higher beings can manifest as different meditational deities. So during their meditation, they manifest as different meditational deities. It is not them holding it, it is the meditational deity holding the mala and blessing it. So in those kind of beings, if they give you one of their malas, it's very blessed. Why? Why is it blessed? It's blessed because it contains the energy of that deity, which when you touch and you use daily, it will open up that energy in you. And
Real quick. Oops, I turned on the... Kind of curious. He says, of course, he's talking about attachment a little bit earlier, and I did show you those watches, and I do have attachment to them. They mean something to me. It would suck if I lose them, of course, because they have meaning. But if someone, like he was explaining here, if someone who's in spiritual practice for a very long time, say like your guru, that gives you one of those things, those malas, then what happens if you lose it? I mean, would you have an attachment to it, or would you say you don't care because it's just a counter? But yet, excuse me, but it's a counter, but yet it's something that your guru has been using for a very long time. I'd assume he's using for a very long time. Maybe he has multiples. I'm not exactly sure how it works in terms of at least a guru or someone giving away one of them. I'm assuming maybe he uses some for like a year and then to give it away and then to get a new one. I don't know. But what happens if you lose it? Then it shouldn't matter, right? You shouldn't get attached to it. It should be something that can be given up very easily and very easily, um, it's not returned, but very easily replaced. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't know why I struggle with that, but very easily replaced. How would your guru feel about it if you lost it? And I mean, genuinely, of course, you wanted to take care of it and all of that, but just somehow you lose it unintentionally. Would the guru say, "Well, that's fine. Don't get attachment to it because it's just a counter that I spent a year praying over." So again, that's where I'm a little confused. So I guess technically speaking, that's what the guru should say because there's no attachment to it. So it says, "Don't worry about it. I prayed over it for a year. If you lose it, you lose it. If you have it, you have it. You just have to get another one." That's what I'm still working on. I'm just kind of curious about that. If anyone knows. Oops. Let me.
And if they cut their mala and they offer it, and you can get one and you can wear it, very protective. Very, very protective. So on a different level, malas can be used as protection. And in some cases of high lamas, their malas are so energized, they know it. They know it. They actually use the mala to bless people. Example, in the Vajrayogini Tantra and Hiruka Tantras, the mantra is very, very potent for dispelling negative spirits. Very potent for exercising or chasing away negativities. Vajrayogini. So in Vajrayogini's Tantra, it's encouraged to have a nice mala. It's encouraged to have a strong one and to keep one and to blow the mantra after you've done. And then with that, you can bless many people. That people who are touched by this mala in the Vajrayogini Tantra actually receive an imprint of her holy blessings. What's her holy blessings that in the future they can practice? So with Vajrayogini's Tantra, for people to even see the mala of the practitioner and to be placed on top of their head to be blessed, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So the mala is a counter, is an ornament for the Buddhas, it's an offering to the Buddhas. It is a reminder of spiritual practice. It is a counter to help us focus our awareness and meditation because we're at a rough, gross level. And it can help us attain different types of powers by activating the winds and energies in the different parts of our fingers, in the different parts of our body. Like some lamas, they have to practice 100, 200 deities. They can't have 200 malas. That's going to be pretty heavy. Imagine immigration, they're going to say you're a businessman selling malas. Taxed. One mala for all. Even better. The purpose of bone malas is this. That has an energy to help us remember our mortality. That has an energy to help us visualize and feel death. And feeling death and mortality is not a depressing state. It is a happy state because it compels us to do things that bring happiness. If we know we're going to die tomorrow, there's a lot of things we would do today that would be harmful to others. And some of the tantric deities, they use wrathful means. They use wrathful means in order to subdue others. So malas that are bone represent death. And when you use these malas, it reminds you of the energy you're tapping into to subdue others in violent places. But it's not necessary. It's not necessary and I don't recommend it. Malas. So they're counters. They can be made of precious items so that you can make offerings. And they can be of any size. They can be of any materials. And they can be used for whatever you like. And they can be switched anytime. So if you're going to switch in one mala, oh God, how do I transfer the energy? No, don't worry about it. Because the energy is not really the mala, it's you. If you're attained, whatever you touch becomes enlightened. You can touch one toilet paper and put on people and bless them with it. If you're really that state.
There we go. So technically speaking, then the malas that the guru gives to you doesn't have any energy on it. At least that's what he says right here.
Why? Because this is all just a substance. It's earth, air, water, and fire. And the blessings is carried over to someone. because they're not able to achieve direct blessing with you. So what happens is it's blessed. Example, we have clothes and we have relics from Lama Tsongkhapa or Buddha. Those are very blessed because it was them. You know, their energies pervaded their whole body and what they wore. So it can be transferred on a tissue, it can be transferred on toilet paper, it can transfer on a mala. So don't think, oh, if I switch malas, how? I need to go see a Tibetan Lama, fly to Tibet and see His Holiness, blue, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then you can't acclimatize. So for 3 days there, you're throwing up and you're dizzy just to transfer the energy of this mala to this mala. And then you find out from Tsem you don't have to. And you don't have to fly to Shangri-La, Tibet. You can just fly to PJ. Isn't that fabulous? Just in PJ. Wonderful. In the past, people who went for teachings, they walked. Trijanarji, when he went for the Lamrim teachings, he walked for 3 months from his part of Tibet on horseback and walked the highest Lama in Tibet to central Tibet to receive teachings from his guru. These days, when we have to drive from another part of town, there's traffic. Oh God, I tell you, if there was a picture of our guru, we'd be punching him. Very easy these days. And so malas on a higher level can be protection. Can be protection. Why? It is imbued with that practice. It is imbued with the power of that mantra. Remember what I mentioned last week without going all into it again? The mantras contain the essence of that Buddha in a form of words. So when you chant that mantra, you're tapping into the energy of that Buddha. You're tapping into its potential, and you're tapping into yourself, connecting with that energy and becoming one with it. So, and then it should be kept clean. It should be kept well. It should be kept in a good place. Why? Because it can become dirty? No. Respecting and keeping it in a nice place is symbolic of your spiritual practice and how you treat it. And it's great gifts. All right, malas. Any questions? Well, if the Dalai Lama says, I want to hold your mala, I'd give it to him. Please, in fact, rub it all over you. You know, if it's a hantu, no thank you. Because if you're weak in energy and they touch it, if a holy being can put good energy on it, an evil being can put negative energy on it. And it can affect you if you're weak.
Okay, I was going to go back, but now I don't have to. Here he explained the fact that I have a feeling that maybe perhaps higher level people can transfer their energies to these objects. Again, I don't believe in necessarily these energies actually transferring over, but I do believe in the psychology behind it. So he's saying like, oh yeah, you know, if this energy in this molecule, if you lose it or if you want to use a different one, it doesn't matter. It's not there. It's their objects. They're in you. And then all of a sudden he's saying higher beings or maybe perhaps lamas could do it. So I don't know whether only lamas or people in higher practice can actually transfer their energy. Can actually transfer their energies, or whether what he said not originally, but what he said just a little bit ago, that it's not really transferred. It's all inside you. I have a feeling what he's trying to say here, though, is that higher level people can transfer their energies onto lamas, whereas lower level people who thinks that they're transferring energy into the lamas aren't. Lamas, oh my gosh, sorry, malas. The lamas is a familiar word to me than mala. I think that's the reason why I'm saying it. So the malas, because you don't know how to practice this transference of energy, but you can practice the idea behind it to build the energy inside of you. To me, I don't believe in transferring energy, but I can believe in the psychology behind it where it feels that way and you believe in it, and does help. That's the placebo effect, where if you really believe something to heal you, it actually can heal you. Because in terms of at least diseases and sickness, if you believe in something that can heal you and you have a very positive thought to it, your body will react in a way that will heal you. And obviously, if the body can heal from the disease, there are obviously new diseases out there that no matter what positive thoughts you have, it will probably harm you, where you need medical attention. But most medicines is just there to help your body fight the infection. And also there's been studies shows that if you're very depressed or stressed, you become more prone to being sick. So again, very much proof of when you believe in something, it can actually help you. And And the same thing goes for, like, I guess, bhakti yoga, or those who people who believe in God and follow the bhakti way, where they are much happier because a lot of the stress is relieved off them. The reality is still there, but it's just because of their belief in what happens in that action that the relief, that stress is not affecting them the same way as someone who doesn't believe in a deity. And they also show that, religious people tend to be happier, and I completely understand why. So when you receive one of the malas, I believe you believe that the energy is transferred there, and it will affect your body. You can feel it in your body because of that belief that you have into it. And I wouldn't doubt it that if you feel sick or something, you put it in your hands, you start doing the mantras or whatever, that you will be healed a lot quicker than if you didn't have it. Because again, it's this, all medicine is just assisting your body, and then having a very, very good outlook in life, you become very resistant to sickness. So by having the mala nearby, and by you always constant thinking about it, and thinking you're putting good energy into it, you can be very resistant to sickness. And you would probably think that the mala itself is doing it, but in reality, you are the one that's doing it because of the positive thoughts that you have. By thinking that you have this mala, therefore you're protected. So, like, and again, this goes back to what he said, where all that energy that you think is like, oh, is it in this mala or in this one? It's actually in you, which is absolutely right. I 100% agree with him on that one, and that it's not on the actual mala itself.
Highly practiced, you can give it to all the hantus and they can touch it, bring it back, and when you touch it, you bless them. But if you're like me, a clown, then hantus are evil people. When you touch it, you turn into the wolf man. Yeah, because touch can affect. Sometimes we touch, we feel, ooh, nice. Sometimes we think, ooh. Sometimes we think, got smell too. Touch does affect you. So if you're on this kind of level like me, then, your friends, your parents, all that can touch it. And they can use it. It's not a big deal. And then worst comes to worst scenario, if it's somebody evil touches it, you think it's evil, because you're obscured, then you take it back, you recite the mantra of your deity. 21 times you blow on it. Om mani padme, 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 Om mani padme. It's okay already. You can be your own guru. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there are things about it that what he says I do believe, and things that I don't believe. It's all, to me, it is a lot of psychology, and it does very much work. It's very interesting. Again, if you look at just the placebo effect, which is pretty interesting. But nonetheless, if this is something that people wants to do and it really helps them, I am 100% behind it. Like, I've grown to be wise enough to stop fighting religion some time ago, and in a sense accept it because of the minute thoughts of, so long as you're not forcing it on people, it's 100% fine, and I can get 100% behind it, so long as it's making you happy and you're not affecting anyone else by force. Then yeah, no problem. And I think it's great if this is something that really works on you and you want to tell other people about it. Like, I'm seriously thinking about the mala. I really kind of want one. I want to see if I can, in a sense, channel my energy, not to the malas, but in a sense, hopefully make me help me focus. I think that's maybe the right word I'm looking at. It's gonna be really weird because I'm not a believer of anything. How to say, outworldly. I don't know what the right word is, but I do believe that you can get yourself to, I don't know what the right word is, not to believe in something, but you can use objects to help control yourself. That's really weird to say. But yes, so again, people who have a distracted mind, they get a fidget spinner and they just spin it and it helps them focus. As weird, as terrible as fidget spinners are, but it's a truth reality to that. That it's not necessarily that says fidget spinners works for everyone, but there are certain people out there like me. I could play with it a little bit, but then I get bored of it because it's a toy. I see it as a toy, and every toy has their little charm that works for a little bit. But when you get something else that's a little bit different from a toy, maybe some people really do want to focus on a fidget spinner that really helps them. But again, I do believe that things can help you focus. And then obviously you want to not focus on those things eventually, but it's a start of the process. Anyways, let me know what you think about everything I said. It could be complete utter garbage, probably. But these are merely my opinions, and I'm always open to hear what others people have to say. So anyways, that's my reaction to Mala and its significance. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.